I'd like to talk about something important today, and that is the notion of it's over. Well, usually in the black pill sphere or the incel sphere, it's over means you don't meet certain looks criteria, and therefore your attempts at dating and mating are basically in vain. Fair enough. But I think coming to the conclusion of it's over is, for one, an individual decision, and secondly, a decision that people can't really tell you. But more importantly, if you do in fact determine that for you as an individual, male, that it's over in that department, you still need to ask yourself the question, what other areas of life are still open to change, to improvement, to doing something in? So more than hypothetically, if you're in a situation where you deem it quote-unquote over, that is not the end of the journey. You still have the rest of your life to live, and the question as to what you're going to be doing with that life. Remember that the black pill incel sphere, as it exists in its current form and incarnation on YouTube and elsewhere, is very, very limited in its scope. The only thing it's about, whether it's wheat waffles, Nero Angelo, is looks. Just looks. They might suggest you make money. They don't talk about anything else in your life. How do you maximize your results for entry into a relationship? There's no information about maintenance of a relationship, and if you look at some of the interesting data out there, you'll see there is no foolproof way of maintaining a relationship. The only foolproof that exists is the proof that exists for maximizing your odds for entry into a relationship. But beyond that, you don't hear a lot of talk about what you're going to do in your life apart from that. It's all about looks maxing, finding a GF, whatever. But let's say, yeah, it's over. But let's say you think it is. What then? Are you just going to give up at age 15 or even 25? Or are you going to consider that there are other things in life, whether you want to call it a cope or not, and this is something we've been over an untold number of times, obviously, but life is cope. Even Brad Pitt is coping, right? He's going to die too one day. Everyone is coping. So what will you do to pass the time if you're not going to be spending day and night fixated or thinking about relationships? Are there other things that you enjoy? Other things you want to achieve? Because I think it's a really important question. Because it's over in the context of the quote-unquote black pill incel sphere is only very limited to that very narrow slice of life, albeit an important one, but limited to that slice of life of mating and dating. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not dismissing that. As I suggested in my video where I cited Schopenhauer, you can't not want what you want. But it is possible to pursue other things that are wholly unrelated to that. Not necessarily with the goal that those things will net you a GF. That's something you're going to have to consider at some point in time. All this obsession these days, getting a GF, it's understandable. But at the same time, you have to consider that there are other things going on in life and things you can pursue and consider. And if you're fortunate, you can find something that really tickles your funny bone. All the time I hear about incels, from incels, listen to black pill content, read about it. I never hear anything outside the context of things that seem directly related to acquisition of box, which is all fair and good. I get it. It's an important thing, and it doesn't go away. The desires don't go away just because you will them to go away. But even the conversations that aren't directly about that, they all fall in line with the self-improvement type of rhetoric. Nobody says, pursue this because you find it interesting, because you might have a passion for it, because you want to understand things. It's all about making yourself a quote-unquote better man, improving your status, which again redounds to your benefit in terms of the mating market, which is all well and good, but that isn't all there is to life. It's an important facet of life. But if you've determined that it's quote-unquote over, there's going to come a point in time when that's insufficient. So what? It's over. Okay. Women aren't an option for you anymore. Maybe they never were an option, and you've just realized it. It's finally crystallized in your head. Now what? Do you want to just give up? I'm not suggesting that anyone give up, by the way. I'm just saying that at that point in time when you determine it's quote-unquote over, there are a lot of things in life that are as yet not over, and you still have options, potentially, to pursue them. And this is always a concern I have, having been exposed to, sifted through a lot of black pill content, that after you determine that it's over, what comes next? Because there is a next, especially if you're young. If you're 18 and you think it's over, do you want to just waste away, do nothing? It's actually really hard to do that. It's actually relatively difficult to do absolutely nothing. So you're still going to have to think in terms of categories of doing something, albeit without necessarily the long-term goal or project that you're going to acquire GF in the process. And dare I say, maybe the consumption of online black pill content will no longer be helpful, precisely because all it focuses on is looks maxing and gaining a GF. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Even the people that say it's not, all this stuff that's directly related to improving status and appearance, ultimately it revolves around the mating and dating game. But for whatever reason, if you have an interest unrelated to that, it will not be covered in all the content you'll find online. And you won't even necessarily know what you're interested in until you're exposed to it. In the course of my life, I was exposed to many different things. Some of them tickled my fancy, some of them didn't. But I was fortunate enough to be exposed to enough things to find some things that were interesting to me. That, to this day, I retain an interest in. It's not a burning passion, to be fair, but it is an interest. And so the intention behind this video is to inaugurate perhaps a new era of a type of black pill content, whereupon the initial black pill has been consumed, it has been accepted, absorbed, and not necessarily resolved. Notice, I'm not arguing that you can't not want what you want. I've talked about this before. I'm simply stating that at some point in time, you need to come to terms with certain things. And you might never stop wanting it to some degree. There are lots of things I will never stop wanting to my dying day. But at some point in time, you need to get on with life. I'm also not saying just get over it. Take the time to process these things. But if you truly, truly deem it over, then take that time, come to terms with it, and then realize that there can be a life outside of only narrowly focusing on looks maxing and getting a GF, whether you're young or old. And obviously it helps to be somewhat older, because it gives you more perspective, time, lower libido, etc., etc. Remember, life is cope. So after you decide it's over, if you decide that, I'm not saying it is, if you decide it's over, what are the other things in life that it won't be over with? You really need to start considering that question. So hopefully, we can start having this conversation more and more as time goes by. And if you've deemed it so, then you start considering these questions. Anyways, as always, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. And if I'm still alive, I'll check you out later. Until the next time, may the gods watch over you. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.